Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
I am Barbara Kelberg, and I am your hostess with the mostest for the evening. Let me introduce you to myself. Professional inker for 37 years. I've been writing and coloring as well for the last 7. I am the creator of Divinity. Just finished up a bunch of soccer cards, and now I'm back on inking the last 3 pages of Divinity 6, and then I have to color it. Divinity 7 is penciled. I have to finish writing Divinity number 8. I got to get off my butt and do that. But real life has been such a chaos. So chaotic.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Yes.
So the next door to me here is Kaz. You want to introduce yourself?
I am Kasisi Harris. You can call me Kaz because I know that is a mouthful, right? I am a writer here at Silverline. I've done several projects on my own that I've released, but at Silverline, I've worked on a one shot in you can call it a one shot, a short story in the Christmas issue a few years ago, and then penned the Silverline Team Up Volume 2 that will be coming out soon, starring Tempest and Miss Fury. So if you're familiar with the old Silver Storm crew, Silver Dollar and Tempest, you'll see her again in this issue. And that's me. Don't have the years and years yet, but I'm grown. I'm getting there.
All right, Rob.
Oh, well, I thought you were going to go clockwise, but we'll do this. Yeah, I'm Rob Davis. I've been a penciler. I actually started as a letterer, which is appropriate for tonight. Also did inking, and then started doing some penciling early in my career and decided that was the best fit for me because it was the most fun. I've been doing that for about as many years as Barb's been around, 30 in the industry, about 37, 38 years. I've drawn everything from Merlin in the ancient past all the way up to the far-flung future with Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and McCoy, and all kinds of stuff in between. Worked for all kinds of companies, everywhere from Eternity which was one of the Malibu sub companies. Worked for Marvel, worked for DC, worked for Innovation, did some stuff with Caliber when they were around, and now I do whatever I want in the industry. I've self-published some stuff. And lately have been doing some cover work for Silverline. Also did a 4-issue miniseries called Twilight Grim that has come out. It was in previews, and I believe it's available again from another distributor because I saw it online not too long ago. But other than that, that's me in a nutshell. So I guess it'll be Javier's turn.
That's right.
Okay. My name is Javier Lugo. You can call me Javi, because that's a mouthful. Okay. I survive off of this and candy.
Yeah.
I'm a diabetic. Go figure.
You got the right color, too. You got the right color one, too. You don't have the banana ones. You got the right ones.
Yes.
I don't discriminate with Starburst. Other candies are lesser. Starburst is all.
Yes.
I
agreed.
Read these.
Conan, nice.
I draw these. I'd like to work for these people that have companies.
Yeah.
But I'm an independent artist, have been since probably 1999. Not that I've been drawing since then. I have been drawing since then, but not full-time as an artist. It's been more of a hobby whenever I can, so on and so forth. Drew a couple drawings every year, put them out, sell them, not whatever, no big deal. It's just recently in the last 10 years that I've kind of decided, you know what, I do want to have I don't know what I'm doing here. I had no purpose. I was just drawing for fun, and I needed a focus. So I decided, let me try my hands at creating comics. So I got together with some like-minded individuals, and we started working on some books and putting them together. And we had this really cool one with a nice premise, rated R, really cool. And then we got a cease and desist from a company because they were going to release a video game with the same name. So it was some, I don't know, was it Warcraft? No, it was Overwatch.
Mm.
So I had quiet about that for 5 years.
Mhm.
But that expired about 5 years ago, so that's good. We're good to go. So I have 3 issues of that in the can. Only one ever saw it published. Since then, I did my Green Tempest with a local neighbor here in Zephyr Hills. I've been working with David Summy of RMD Comics to work on a book called Return to Sender. I helped him out with layouts on a 10-page story. Really proud of that work. I've never done Westerns before. Took a lot of research to make sure I can wrap a hat around a character's head the right way.
That's tough because you don't see
everything-
those very often. Yeah.
Nothing is like it seems. You think, oh, you just put a belt on, but they didn't have that kind of belts. They didn't have loops in their pants. They had the rivets instead, and then they carry them higher, and the boots are different, and the spurt. Everything is like nothing I've ever physically touched.
Hollywood got it wrong quite a bit.
Oh, very wrong.
I did have an argument with somebody. Good point. I'll make it quick. They were drawing this book that the character was lost in time, and he ended up in the Wild West. And I trying to help him out by doing layouts on a carriage chase. And okay, so I did some research, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, I mean, people live in these places, so they have to have trees, and they have to have grass, and I'm sure there's cows, and there's things, right? And I drew this 6-page sequence, and all he came back with was, this sucks. That's not how it looks like on TV. And I'm like, dude, they were made in a back lot in California in the desert because it was cheap land, and they could easily just rent it out for, 2 weeks to shoot this stupid thing.
Yeah.
That's
like,
what,
okay.
Yeah.
How many cross trees on your carriage?
She can tell you.
I don't know the names of these things, but if you're talking about spokes on a wheel, I know there's about 16, depending on the size. But I had to draw horses and
That was an inside joke.
What was it? Long range guns and all this stuff.
Yeah. And what gun did I draw?
oh no! This time I researched it all. It's these really long ones, about so big. It's triangular, and you have to have reverse grip or some weird thing.
I have magazine reference for all kinds of different guns.
Those are cute little pew pews.
We see you out there, Billy. Hello, Billy. we see you out there, Billy.
Right.
You know what? I'm up. I'm done. That's right.
Right.
Let's get to the topic at hand, please.
Yeah.
Before we get to the topic tonight, I do want to mention that we have currently a campaign going on.
Yep.
Beyond the
We do.
Yep, Beyond the Stars, and it's got 5 days left to go. I have posted the link in the comments section. I see that we have 87%. We're 87% funded with 5 days left to go. Yep, but we have still got some artwork left, and oh gosh, I'm sorry. One of the things about our campaigns is that the books are all finished. All you need to do is basically purchase it. Yep, basically purchase it, and we slap together a thank you page and send it to the printer. That's all there is. If you want any of our back issues, any of the Silverline books are available from any of our crowdfunders. So you can fill your coffers with all kinds of interesting stories.
If you don't have this,
or
you
Divinity,
can get it.
You can get them during any crowdfunder. So feel free to go take a look. If you can't afford at this time, please help us out. Thank you for doing that, because I can't manage to do it on my Mac. Don't ask me why. I just can't. So if you can't afford, but you feel like helping us, share the link and promote us on any of your social media platforms. We would very much appreciate it. Yep. Ron Fortier is the writer, best known for his Green Hornet work, but he's worked for every major company and is a literary icon in his own right.
Absolutely.
So please feel free to go check it out. All right. Thank you. Now, tonight's topic is going to be the rules of comics. I called it, what is the 180 rule, for just for a title for the show, but we're going to hit on more than just the 180 rule. And these are rules not only for artists, but for writers too, because when you write, you're writing for the artist.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to keep these things in mind. And the artists, you have to keep the writing rules in mind as well. It's very much an amalgamation, the partnership between the writer and the artist, and they have to, the rules have to mesh. Tomorrow's payday. I'll back it in. Thank you, Billy.
Thank you, Billy.
Wonderful,
Thank
Billy.
Yeah.
Power.
Go for it, man.
The numbers jumped after last Wednesday's show, so thank you everyone who participated.
Yes.
I think I know what this 180 rule is, Barbara. Isn't it how long it takes, how many days it takes to get paid for a project once you turn it in? Is that what it is?
You got it. Darn it.
Yeah, don't break that 180 rule. I mean, we'll wait 6 months
days.
for payment. Sure, yeah.
Rob?
That's
What's
it.
the
For sure.
180?
What's the 180 rule?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in storytelling, it means that when you're looking at a scene, the camera can only stay on one side. Say you make a circle around the characters. That's 360 degrees. What's half of that? 180.
180.
So you essentially make a plane inside the scene that you're making, and your camera can only stay on that side of the scene. And
That's right.
You want to, that's the 180.
It's continuity. So if you're looking at a character and he's facing to the left, and you see a couch and a picture in the back of you, and then you turn around and you're catching him from the right, you still can't have the couch in the picture behind him because you've just broken. You can't have the same scenery behind him if you're two different directions.
Unless it's very, very, very intentional. And it has to be designed in there because there's a reason why you would jar it, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. You should ground the people in that perspective. But like,
when you're composing a scene in your mind, you should have an idea about where everything is.
Mm-hmm.
And cinematic rules govern that 180. Now, there are artists that break that rule constantly, and with abandon. But in order to keep really clear continuity of what's going on, it's best to use that 180 rule. And I tell people about this. Another aspect of that 180 rule is that if Spider-Man comes out of his apartment and swings this way out, how's he going to come back to his apartment at the end? He's going to come swinging back this way.
That's right.
Just to keep you, the reader, grounded. It's not absolutely necessary, and you can change the angle a little bit. You can have him coming in like that, but you kind of need to keep on that one side of the plane of vision in the scene.
In order to keep from confusing the reader, unless you're breaking the rule for a purpose, say like a person's pacing back and forth.
Yeah.
You know, unless you're breaking that rule for a specific purpose that's needs to be there for the plot line, then you need to, remain consistent so that you're not confusing your readers, because I mean, you want them, you don't want to take them out of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you want to,
That's-
like, if the
that's the point.
characters, yeah, if the
Okay,
character is
okay.
on the left in panel 1, they should generally remain on the left throughout
You
the
got it.
page.
And you have to.
Thank you, Barb.
And you
Yeah.
and you have to, if you decide to break it, you have to give somebody an anchor to where that makes sense. Like if I have a teleporter and I know they teleport, then I can break it, right? He can be appearing in like random parts because I know that the perspective won't necessarily be the same because I'm from the perspective of a teleporter. I get that. But if you
Yeah.
don't ground people in or give them a rule that allows it to be broken, they completely disengage from the story and go, what the heck am I? That's wrong. It feels wrong, right? Sort of like if you're not in a scary movie and you hear a dissonant chord in a song,
Mhm.
it's ugly. Like that did not make sense. But if you're in a scary movie, that chord makes sense. It's disturbing. I'm disturbed. I'm scared, right? Like, so you have to give some sort of context to why a rule would be broken,
Right,
and then it would feel right. Yeah.
right.
I've literally seen writers break that with their dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if character 1 speaks, character 2 speaks after character 1 in that order, then I either, and then the next panel reverses that.
mhm.
And then character 2 has this big dialogue, and character 1 also has a piece in there. And in order to not break that, I have to be very creative how I use
Yes.
You have
either
to
panel 1 or
swing the
panel
camera
2.
around and
You
give
have
it a
to
different
swing
angle.
the camera somehow. It either has to go up,
I may have to
above, or- yeah.
insinuate a character instead of drawing the character. Even though they're speaking to each other, I may have to draw a body part so that way I can fulfill the whole, you got to see something of the character to draw the tail of the speech to them,
Mhm.
or something that represents them in that space. Like you were saying before with sofa, if he's in the sofa and the next scene he talks again, but it's weird, I could just draw the sofa and insinuate him walking off scene, and that visually it still follows the parameters. It isn't confusing. But again, it's also placement not only of the plane of the one rectangle or square shape that you use as a panel. It also depends on where on the page it fits. Is it the beginning? Is it the middle? Is it towards the end? Is it a page turn, which is another thing you need to have in mind when you're creating comics, is that that page turn means something, and it's full of potential that you need to write to. That's a lot of lifting for me as a visual artist if you leave that up to me, because then I'm gonna redesign the whole entire page to accommodate the page turn.
Yeah.
Now, if the writer doesn't care, should I? I think as a professional, I should. But that's going to depend on this. If you are paying me, I will go the extra effort and make sure there's, okay, this thing works visually. No, I have to say it like that because,
Right.
not only is the inker waiting on me, the colors waiting on me, the publisher's waiting on me. I can't waste 3 days on a back and forth with the writer for them to figure this thing out. If they didn't figure it out when they wrote it, when they gave it to the publisher to editor to review it, the editor didn't notice it, and they're handing it off to me, I have to assume they've already seen this and they've all proved all of it. And who am I to second guess that? I'm just a professional that has to make this work for all of us.
The main purpose of following the 180 rules to keep your reader grounded and in the story without throwing them out, because you don't want them to get confused, like, wait, what's happening here? And
yeah, you don't want to give them a jumping off point.
Right.
No, never.
No.
If you're swapping your character's dialogue out then you need to visually, and it's up to the writer too, to put this in. Panel 2, we're going to switch the camera angle so that they are silhouetted against the window, and speaker, first speaker is blah, blah, blah. Panel 3, we're going to swing back around again. We have to remain in consistency so they can easily follow the action without being thrown out of the story.
And some advice I'll throw in here right away is before you start drawing, if you're drawing a book, read the whole script. Seriously, read the whole
No,
thing.
I don't want to.
Because there may be something you want to foreshadow in the artwork that happens later.
Mhm.
And it's hard to go once you get all the way through the book. Oh man, I could have foreshadowed this, on page 2, and now I can't because I've already sent it off to the inker.
Thank you.
Read
Thank you,
the
Rob.
whole script through. Don't just start at page 1 and read the page 1 script. Do that.
See,
Read the whole.
Because then you get to page 18 and you're going, oh shit, I should have.
Exactly.
I've already sent the pages off.
Yep, exactly.
see, Rob,
So,
you're
yeah.
too nice. You're so diplomatic. Because see, you're being very respectful to the writer. I appreciate that. But you know what, writers, if you're gonna surprise the reader, you need to tell me first.
Not
Tell me first.
Most of
This
the
is
writers I work
Harold
with
from page
do.
3 in Shadow. This is him.
Yeah.
This is the driver of the getaway car that you don't get to see.
Mhm.
I
Don't
will-
save
I
that
will
for
do
5
that.
pages later. That's a reader surprise,
Yeah.
which is great.
Y-
But
I
you
will
got,
do
I'm your
stuff like
partner. You
when
got to
I-
help me out here and
when I write
tell
my
me this
script-
is the same dude.
Yeah.
When I write my scripts, I'll say, please make a note of this guy because he's going to show up later.
Thank you,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Barb.
Or,
You're a
or
blessing.
you'll
But
say
I-
this
no, I'm-
object appears later on and is the
Yeah.
event.
I'm-
You say
I'm-
that, yeah.
As you feel
also-
me, there you go.
I'm also saying that there are sometimes, if you go through there, maybe the writer didn't think of what you thought of to
That's true.
foreshadow.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. So to flip that over, if you are a writer, yes, if you want to foreshadow something that's later on in the book, don't wait till later on in the book to say it. Say it early on. Now, the
We
way
love writers like
The
that.
way I do my thumbnails, when I do thumbnails for a book, I read the book and I'll thumbnail each page as I go. Then when I'm all done, I'll go, okay, now let me go through this again. And I go, okay, I missed this when I went in the first run through. So I've read the whole book. Before I start the actual pages, I do those thumbnails, and then I'll come back and correct stuff in those thumbnails that needed to be done throughout the story. But if you're the writer and you want something to show up later, you want to hint at it early on, say, okay, this is going to be important later. Be sure it's in this panel. And then,
I agree with that.
Letter, or please don't put stuff over it.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do think, though, artists should be sensitive to the fact that you are more adept at understanding what is visually striking, right?
Mhm.
When I envision something as a writer, yeah, you got the movie playing in your head and you're trying to capture it. But the things that you can foreshadow that isn't really a part of my integral
Right.
story, right?
And that's what I was
You
referring
do,
to.
right? Like, if you understand a character's cape is so iconic on it that it needs to be, done a certain way, or this will make the visual of when they appear again pop more. I might not understand that, right? Like, I'm just saying, yes, his presence is the thing that pops. You have to dial that in, right? And I'm trusting, I feel like I should trust, my artist to come up with that, like to come up with that with me, right? So I won't, I may not be able to voice that in the words, like you can pick up on it if you read the whole thing, right?
Well,
And you're like,
yeah,
okay, well,
which
they
is
appear
the
on
point.
page 18,
Read
yeah.
the whole thing, but
Yeah.
because
See,
you might catch stuff that wouldn't be caught otherwise.
I
So,
would have
yeah.
caught it. I would have caught it. I saw it 6 pages later. But my problem is that I lose a lot of steam if I read the whole thing, because my mind will start picking out page 17 is a cool page. I'm gonna start there. No, I need to start at page 1. My lack of discipline shows in that
You need
if
to
I get
develop
excited about
discipline.
this, boom, 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 I'll just jump there because I got all 22 pages in front of me. I'll just jump to the best part, what I'm feeling today. But as a working professional, I can't go with feeling.
No,
I have to do work. And that work has to get done 5 pages a week religiously. Doesn't matter how I feel, if I'm sick, tired,
I
whatever.
see people working the way you're talking about, Javier. I've actually either inked or lettered somebody,
You can
and
feel
I will
it in the
get
pages.
I'll get page 17 before I get 1, and I'm going, how do you keep track of how far along you are in the book so you know how to time yourself to get to the end? The best way to do that is to start at page 1 and work your way through. Now, I know Roland Mann doesn't see that as a hard and fast rule, because sometimes when an artist is, especially if it's a new project, maybe getting to page 3 or 4 and doing it first, then coming back to the splash page on page 1, because then you've got a better feel for the characters and what's going to happen. So I can see that but for my mind, I have to do it page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, straight through the book, so I know I've gotten to page 10, and if I don't bust my butt, I'm not going to make the deadline. So I'm going to have to pick up the pace on the next 4 or 5 pages to catch back up again. So I need to know where I am in the book and how close I am to the deadline. So that's
All
yeah,
right.
I'm definitely with you there.
So let's send
Okay.
it back 180 degrees back to Barb.
Yes. I actually have like 20 things. This is going to be obviously a 2 podcast subject because I've got like 20 rules and we've only covered 1.
Yeah, and you've got people that like to talk.
No, I have no problem with it. I always need good material for podcasts. Second one, the word balloon is king. Since they have the highest contrast on the page, your eye obviously goes right to the word balloons. And for that reason, they need to enhance the flow of the story. And there are certain rules that word balloons need to follow. And since Rob is the only one in this group that's actually, well, I have, but I wouldn't say I'm. It was like a last.
Yeah, and I'm probably not the best letterer in the world, but the number one rule, Barb and I talked about a little bit about this before you guys got here and before we went on the air. The biggest no-no, never have the tails of the balloons cross. Never ever have the tails of the balloons cross. I saw that in a book recently, and I gritted my teeth because somebody had actually put a balloon here and a balloon here, and the tails crossed to go to the characters. Now, part of that is how the scene is written, and then how it's drawn. Yep. Because if the character's on the left, they should be the first speaker.
Yep.
Right? The first word balloon should go to the person on the left. Now, I have had times where I placed it so that the person who speaks first is actually on the opposite side of the panel, but I leave enough room up at the top that I can put that first balloon, then the second person's balloon goes under that, and then a tail comes around to the third balloon that person on the other side of the panel speaks again. So but never ever have 2 balloons and have the tails cross. Just
this
don't.
Is
where
your 180 rule comes in handy, because you should always have the person who's speaking first in that particular panel on the left. So if you have to flip the screen to the 180 rule, that's what you do. So you can have the first person to speak on the left. Anything else?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that for a writer, that is something like when you first start writing that you really will take for granted. Like the order when you are crafting the panel and the dialogue, you have to make sure that I've messed up this so many times that the first speaker is on the left, and you have to design it. So if you have this great dialogue in your head and you only want it that way, well, then you may need a panel in between to show an action that gets people there. And that's how you have to think, right? If you only had 6 panels in your head and you didn't design it right, well, maybe you need 8, and maybe you need to reassess the word count.
Well, the artist will usually catch that. I have actually, I've gotten scripts and I go, no, we need to insert a panel here, or we need to put these 2 panels together.
Yep.
So that's the way to think of it. And now one of the not so hard and fast rules that I have as a letterer is that the balloons should be anchored on the panel border. Now, I don't know if everybody agrees with that. There are times when a balloon floating in the middle of it is very impactful. But for the most part, I try to put them along the edge of the panel, which brings me to the rule for artists. Always look at your dialogue. If there's going to be a lot of dialogue in that panel, number one, you aren't going to need much background.
Yeah, don't put a lot into it.
And leave enough room for those balloons and all that dialogue to fit in there, because the letter is going to be cussing you out.
Yeah, if you got a panel that's got a lot of wording in it, don't draw the entire laboratory.
No.
Well, and there's another
Yeah.
rule, right? That we're gonna probably go over about how many words per panel.
I was going to ask you, Kaz, because
Yeah.
I'm a fairly new writer, and Kaz has been editing
Yeah.
my books, and he clued me into this, and I've been very conscious of it ever since.
I'm
he brought it
surprised
up.
RA didn't hit you on this too, but
Yeah.
Um,
If you
when he was
have,
working with you.
you should think of, if you have 6 panels, you don't want more than 35 words in that panel, right? And that's dialogue. That's complete dialogue, right? More than 35.
That's everybody's dialogue. That's every balloon in that panel.
Yeah, you don't want more than 35 words in that panel. And you see some writers that'll give this huge monologue, like 60 words for one person. And you're like, well, what is the artist supposed to do? Is it supposed to like cover the people's space? You have to be very, very conscious of space. So, and that's hard as a writer because you're not necessarily the artist, right? But you have
Kaz
to
taught me this.
You have to, in your mind, allow that artist to be an artist and give them space. So you don't want, I mean, again, just think 6 panels.
It comes back to this is a visual medium.
Yeah.
It's a visual medium. You got to give the artist an opportunity to put some punch in that panel, or to give whatever dialogue you have an extra punch with whatever they draw. And if you only leave them, in a panel this big, you only leave them this much space to draw something, that's kind of hard to be impactful.
Right. And if you do more than the 6, you need less words. Right. So if you're doing 9 panels, then that 35, you gotta trim that back. You gotta trim that back. Right. But if you're only doing 2 panels, now you got some room to do some stuff. Right.
Oh, we have a Flora Monty flyby. He says he's never heard of this bogus 180 rule. Come on.
Wrong.
You have the Matrix, Tommy. The Matrix, where everything glitches out. You're from every perspective.
One of the oops, my sound just went really weird. One of the other rules about the panel layout is that you're supposed to respect the Z. Have you ever heard that?
Yep.
Respect. Do you know what that means, Javier? Never.
In my culture, it's only the silver.
Close.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You want to the unspoken rule of comics is that you read back and forth horizontally, and then top to bottom vertically second. So the rule of the Z, Kaz.
Yes. So I mean, it's kind of obvious. You just
explain to our audience.
Yeah, you just kind of explained it. So the way that you progress when reading a comic book is left to right, and then you go to the next panel on the left side. So you want to maintain the Z sort of reading pattern.
No, that gets really.
People have broken that several times. Yeah, people break that all the time. But
hang on.
In general, oh, that's beautiful. In general, that's what you want to do.
So you've got this that leads into that, and then that leads down to that next panel. I'm backwards here.
Well, yeah.
So,
it's kind of
and then notice that her glass in her hand leads you into the next panel, and also kind of pulls you down into that last one. So that's not a really perfect example of it, but there's some of the Z goes on that page. Yeah. Let me see, guys. I'll dig in here some more while you guys go.
And obviously, if we're having one of those, like I have a page in Divinity where she's remembering a bunch of stuff, and she's in the center of the page, and the panels are around her. Obviously, that's not going to be a Z page, but it's laid out in such a way that it still makes sense. Yeah. There's all kinds of examples where people break the Z, but you need to keep in mind that if you're going to break the Z, it still needs to flow
intuitively. It needs to be
intuitively. That's a good way to put it.
This guy.
Here's an example of that. Here's an example of that.
Draw them correctly
in
automatically.
In this top, you see that that's a non-Z.
Yeah,
it's a circle, and I even emphasize it with that with
With
that
the
circle
circle.
around the character. So yeah, so you read it properly. But
Right,
yeah,
it still flows.
yeah, this is yeah, but it does. That's not the Z, but that's you got to help the reader get through the page.
Especially if the
Z
images are not intuitive, right? Like some
Yeah.
things, your brain automatically knows, well, that thing had to have come before the next thing. So it doesn't matter where you orient it on the page. You know, the water had to come out the spout first before it splashed onto whatever. But if it's not necessarily that intuitive, you again don't want to get the reader out of the story. If they have to do calculus to figure out, or some sort of trigonometry to figure out which direction to read your story, they're just probably going to quit after a
Yeah,
while.
you're failing them. You're failing the reader.
Yeah.
If they have to work too hard to figure out what's going on, you are failing the reader. Ready for the next one?
That's the purpose. Unless you have some deep symbology and people are supposed to break a code every time they read your work, which that is a pretty niche audience that wants to do that every time, then you should again frame a story as intuitively as you can, whether that's the Z pattern, whether that's a series of memories that don't necessarily have to go in order. It's just things that you want them to pay attention to, so it's kind of intuitive. But you want to just be intentional in your design and how somebody is supposed to progress on the page.
That is a challenge that writers present to artists when they, because I understand when you're writing, you're all about feelings and emotions and the moment. And when it comes time to illustrating that in a cohesive manner that leads, that's pretty much our translation process. We have to translate your words and your feelings, your emotions into squares, rectangles, parallels, Dutch lines, all these things, all these tools to enhance what we understand your story to be about. And I think that's why comics has to be very collaborative in nature, because we're all cooks and we all want the greatest cake ever, but it's not made just out of icing, even though icing is awesome and you can eat it by itself. But we all adding this extra ingredient, and that's why the best teams with the best work that end up, they don't necessarily have to like each other, but they have to bring their craft to each section, including the letterer, because they get the ultimate say of where these things are. Are they in top panel left, top panel right, top panel center? Does it go center of the page, straight to the center of the page, down to the bottom? Those things affect the reader's experience as they read this. I would say a masterclass, forgive the term, of lettering is Sandman. Sandman is a masterclass on where to put balloons, how to adjust the lettering for the character. Even they reverse the standard for word balloons are black outline, white inside, black letters. They reverse that for Morpheus. And he's the only one that speaks that way. And he speaks in standard script with lowercase letters. That's artistry.
Yes, it is. Lettering is a form of artistry.
Tommy said, "Thanks. I want cake now."
Let them eat cake," said somebody.
Here's this page right here is a pretty good Z.
Yeah.
Because you got that
top
gun
left
going
to
off.
the right.
Yeah.
You have to come back to left to read the next one. But the guys are all pointing to the right, taking me to the stairs. The stairs are going down. That leads me to the left. And then
It's in front of the door,
It's gorgeous.
So that's just got this today.
Ooh, cool.
Feather bones.
Yeah. Tommy said, it doesn't matter how good the layout is. Bad word balloons can ruin everything.
Yes,
yeah, they can.
Correct. That is correct.
I think we've all read a comic book with too much lettering in it, too much words, where they've reduced it so much that it's
almost unreadable.
And you really have to struggle to read it.
Which is easy to do now with digital lettering. You can change the size of it, whereas
you can lose
before,
sight
when you
of the
actually
scale.
had to hand letter it, it was very difficult to make it much smaller. So you could do it, but it was tough.
All right, another rule. Every scene needs an establishing shot. Now, that doesn't mean every panel needs an establishing shot. It just means every scene. So if you have a scene that's taking place in a bar, and then it moves out to the parking lot. The bar is one scene. You need to establish the bar first, and then you can have talking heads or whatever. And then when we move to the parking lot, another establishing shot for the parking lot. So every scene change needs a good establishing shot before you play around with it.
I would add.
Go ahead.
I would add either in the writing itself or in the art, because I've seen plenty of changes where they say in Berlin somewhere underground, and you just go underground.
Yeah.
In the underground bunker where Captain America is punching people out, right? Now, in some places, I've seen it where they don't have to tell you that it's Berlin. They draw something that people identify as Berlin.
Yeah.
Right.
In old Marvel comics, it was Twin Towers. You drew Twin Towers. Did you have to write New York City? No. There was no need for it.
Are we doing? Is this an establishing shot?
There's an establishing shot. Look at that left.
Yep.
Yeah.
And after that, you don't have to draw another building. Just insinuate.
Yeah. You see the next page. Just hints about where things are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have inked comics before where it's in a laboratory and every freaking panel is full of laboratory crap.
Yeah.
Whereas you could get just a pipe or two running in the background after the initial establishing shot would tell you that you're still in the laboratory instead of filling up the background, which is just going to get covered by a word balloon anyway with 40 bazillion pieces of machinery. That doesn't make any sense to me, but
This is where my brain goes into overtime. So, I literally drawn the scene like that in which there's this creature in the ice and he breaks out and he causes this destruction in a lab. I've literally had to design the walkway to the office, the doors that open, the inside of it with multiple terminals of scientists working with a separate area secure for this thing. Like it's a set in a movie. It does take time. It took me a day and a half, 2 days to get it visually where it all made sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I had power cables going over. I had water here, and I had do I have windows to the outside? All of these things are important because when that thing breaks out, does it break out and it's underground? Does it break out and it's 20 stories high? That's important to know, because if the monster just leaps through the window, falling 20 stories is dead. Falling 2 and surviving shows how tough it is. Those are all storytelling things I need to know, and I need to be able to illustrate that quickly, and to deliver the page that you just mentioned. Part it's nice, and I dive into it too much. Kind of like I want to give every little character a background story, like they're walking to the store. Oh, that's their kid. Oh, they're just out for a stroll. No, they're just background characters that are going to be forgotten into next panel.
Unless you're George Perez, and then you draw every friend you've ever met,
don't they? Yeah, I've got that.
George Perez, you put every person you've ever met into the crowd.
Yeah,
they look like.
It's silly, but I do want that, because when I want them reacting to the monster that picked up a car and is throwing it, there can't be danger if nobody cares about these characters, if they're just little dots with little stick arms. No, I'm going to give them different dress. I'm going to think about the time of the year, because you don't dress the same in winter as you do in summer, as you do in the northern hemisphere versus the warmer climates, all these things, and you got a different body type. So crowd scenes, I love them and I hate them with the same passion.
Oh God, yes. It's easy to write. There's 50,000 cavalrymen coming over the hill, and
this is where digital media comes in handy, because I have crowd stamps. Okay, my crowd's done.
I mean, if you're talking, stormtroopers, sure, they all look alike. You just draw 3 of them and just multiply. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with people, you got different heights. You got
Yeah.
And
I know.
wait a minute, I derailed us. We're talking about lettering. I'm complaining about art. I'm sorry.
No, actually, we're actually talking about establishing shots right now.
Oh, okay.
That's a good
There's
one.
one.
Yeah.
That contains none of the characters from the book, but it establishes where they are. They're in that building back behind everyone.
I mean, where they are and the mood, right?
Yeah.
I would turn all those people in the middle into a super team. I drew FemForce. I literally drew that on Super Babes #1. People in the beach, they're fighting aliens that arrive. Woo!
And I think it's the hard. Oh, go ahead, Rob. What were you gonna say?
No. I was going to show another one here. We're talking about different characters in the background. That second panel.
Yeah.
The first panel. Yeah, the first panel, that guy down near the bottom, and then the second. Yeah, and then she goes into a church. But it's a set, and I'm trying to remember that. I think it's Argentina or somewhere down there. So you have to think about what kind of people would be on the street there.
Mm-hmm.
And for that sign in that first panel, that street sign, I investigated what to write on that street sign. Now I don't have it here. It was done the color. It was done digitally. The lettering was, so it's not on there. But I had to look that up. What would it say in that?
Currently, I'm doing a whole church parish in Divinity.
Oh my gosh!
And my penciler was pretty generic with the forms, and like you, Javier, I've got some of them are overweight, some of them are thin, some of them are tall, short, blonde. Some of them are different ethnicities.
And here's where digital comes in real handy. You'll note I only drew 1/2 of that.
Yeah.
Of that and I just flopped it digitally, put it on the other side.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I didn't use stamps on most of them. If the crowds are tiny, I'll use digital stamps.
Yeah,
but
if they don't need detail,
yeah,
which happens.
But unfortunately for me, they start out in the church and they all follow the preacher down to somebody's house and they all follow him down to a diner there, and then they all crowd into the diner. So like half the book. Why did I write that? Oh my God.
I try.
Because hate your artists.
I try to craft scenes where I intentionally don't try and put a lot of people on the page. I don't, for that very reason. I'll put like maybe 2 or 3. I'll imply if it's at a distance, I'll kind of hone in that there are little things and then zoom into where you can only see about 2 or 3 of those subjects. And
I wrote the damn thing. I'm punishing myself because I wrote the damn thing.
Yeah. Here's the thing about doing a good established shot. If you do it on the page that I did, if you do a really good one for that first panel in that first scene change, you can just hint at the background and the rest of them.
Yeah.
So you can focus in on doing the emotion of the character, emotion and motion of each of those characters, getting their facial characteristics right. Are they give the dialogue a little more punch by what kind of emotion you can put on that character's face, or not, as the case may be. But you build that establishing shot really well, and you won't have to draw much after that.
Bob, your situation is hard though. If it's the crowd I'm thinking about, then you kind of do have to choose, because you're
and if it's
how that crowd kind of
if that crowd is
agitated
is all those people that were in that church, that artist has got to draw them all the same.
Yeah.
He can't just create new ones for each scene. He's got to have some of the same people in each and every one. I guess we just lost Barb.
Yeah.
But that's what you got to think about. What is if they're?
But I think
that's and you also have to design if you know they're going to show up a lot more. It's best to design them so that it's easy to draw them over and over again. That's why costumes in the golden age were so simple, is that artists they had to draw them over and over again. So you simplified it so you could just pump those pages out.
I know you guys terrified me with utility belts when we did them before. Now every time I put one on a character, I'm like, oh no. Oh no, I can't do that. I'm only gonna give them like 2 pockets.
I try to channel Gene Colan when it comes to multiple people. He uses a lot of shadows in his work, chiaroscuro stuff, which I still don't understand. I can barely pronounce it, much less do it.
Chiaroscuro. Yeah. It's an Italian word, I think.
I think it means I think it means black, orange tiled, something like that. I don't know. I don't speak Italian. But yeah. But that's who I try to channel when it comes to multiple people in the same scene. They all wear suits and they wear ties. If they're a background character, they wear coats. They wear all these easy things to draw that you could just do a silhouette. You're done.
Add a hat. Give you use maybe 2 or 3 different hat styles if necessary. But you were mentioning earlier about learning how to put a hat on a character's head. I see an awful lot of young artists who can't put a fedora on a character's head properly. It looks wrong, and you have to know how it. You have to see it. You have to get you some good reference. So that I was
going to go grab my fedora, but it's too far
certain way. I mean, I've got these guys. Yeah, in that first scene, in this scene here. They've got hats on it, and you've got to know how to draw them so they sit properly. Or when they blow off their head.
That's nice. That last panel and that second to last, that's really nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
did you know that there was such a thing as fedora? There was a straw hat mob, like there was like a big fight. I think it was in Chicago I think it was a convention. Because you'll see if you look at this old-timey black and white stuff, there's like everybody had the same type of straw hats, right?
Right.
They were selling them a whole bunch, but then they started doing ones with colors,
flat ones with the round top and low,
and just like a strip of color in the middle.
Right.
Apparently, they started carrying colors, and that started belonging to different neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And then when they would see each other, they would get into arguments because of the color of the ribbon on their hat. And apparently there was such a big fight that lasted like 2 hours that they just stopped making these hats entirely. This is like 1918, some stupid thing like that. It's crazy. I don't know.
I'm back.
People problems.
I'm back. Sorry. My internet.
Oh, let's get back to lettering. Yeah.
Yeah. No, not lettering. We went way beyond that.
We carried on without you.
My internet just crapped out for some reason and threw me out.
Happens.
You were lost, Barb. Thanks for coming back.
I have one more before the end of the show.
Okay.
Now I threw my notes all over the place. Color controls the mood. Now I know none of us are actually colorists. I do color.
Yeah.
I do color my own stuff, but I'm not like super professional.
Huge weakness of mine in writing. I do not consider color.
Just tell us what time of day it is.
I do that.
Yeah, that's a
please. Just tell us what time of day it is.
If it's important.
Yeah, it really is important. It's because and early on, tell us what time of day it is.
And I try and tell you
we aren't drawing a daytime scene, and then we show the sun up in the sky, and then suddenly it's midnight.
Yeah, I try and relate passage of time.
Please,
but I don't.
If you're writing, do that, please.
Warm colors, like mood colors, I don't do it, and I need to.
No, I don't write it, but then I color my own stories too. But
you in the writing, you got to give what the emotion of the scene is, so that the colors can get that, and make sure the colorist gets that script.
For any colorists out there, you want to read the script and pick up on the mood of the comic. Is it happy scene? Is it a foreboding? I have a scene where everything's going fine, everything's happy, joy, and all of a sudden the door bursts open and there's special forces coming through the door. So that last panel where they're coming through the door, all of a sudden the bright sunny day now has red pall over it because danger, danger, Will Robinson. So, I mean, color is important in the fact that it tends to cue the reader in to what the mood is at any given time. And you also want to, I mean, if you're indoors, you want to do a different color scheme than if you're outdoors, or if you're in a dank warehouse, it's obviously going to be different coloring than if you're in an office building, you know.
And this has gotten
So
much more important and easier easier and hard at the same time with digital coloring, because before you had a palette of, I think it was 94 colors to play with back in the old days, but now you've got millions of colors and all sorts of shades in between to play with. So knowing a little color theory and what colors bring out certain emotions is really even more important today than it was, 40, 50 years ago. So yeah.
And sometimes it's kind of a hard thing to do as myself, as a continuously learning colorist myself, because what some people think of as a bright and cheerful color to others is not. Like green, I don't like green. Green to me is sick and slimy and slightly evil, where other people's like, oh, that's green and growing.
You must not like Ireland or
green.
money.
It's the forest. Yes.
Yeah. It means things and stuff like that. So you have to kind of walk a fine line as to how to interpret the right type of color. Going back to the green thing, there are so many shades of green, and if you want to portray something poisonous and sickly, you got to pick a yellowish green. That's
putrid green, a putrid green,
So, Bob, your question had an adjective in it. What was it?
I said color controls the mood.
Mood. Okay. If mood is important, starts from the top. If I'm a colorist, I'm 4th or 5th in line. I got hardly any say to affect the mood that's in the art. And the artist has the chance to affect it comes from the top. So if it's important to the writer for their story to have a mood, by all means, there's plenty of space in your document. Go ahead and put that in there. It helps.
There's a fine line, though. You say there's plenty of space, but you don't want.
You don't want to micromanage.
Yeah, and I don't. And that's the thing. That's the thing that I tried to not do the most. I want you to have room to be an artist. So
Kaz, you need to be my quarterback. I'll be the other 10 guys, but you need to be my quarterback. You need to tell me if it's, and it doesn't have to be, a whole paragraph. You can just easily say mood, pensive, mood, danger, mood, cold. That's fine. Keywords work perfectly
but you
fine.
Also gotta, if you're a good enough colorist, you're gonna realize that if there's a villain that's stabbing some guy to death in a dark warehouse, you're not gonna throw bright sunny colors on it.
Unless you're in Star Trek.
The pastels.
Pastels in the background. Yeah,
unless that's your thing, unless you're a Dazzler or you're Crystal the Warrior and everything's shiny, or Rom the Space Knight. It doesn't. It could. It could. That's why if it matters to the story, put it in there. Otherwise, the next guy down the line is gonna help it. Imagine this, Barb. You got this huge. You got a rabbit. They're in a little meadow, and you color that purple. There's a dissonance, right? Unless you're in Amethyst world, that doesn't make sense. It's got a mood, but it doesn't make sense. If mood is important, shouldn't your writer communicate that to you as the color? Shouldn't the artist have communicated that to you so you have a clue of
by the time you
good,
get it as
bad?
a colorist? By the time you get it as a colorist, the writer and the penciler inker should have established through the writing and the art exactly what type of mood you should be coloring. And you would think that that the
Yeah,
writer would trust you enough to pick up on that.
Yeah, it just comes down to sometimes because of the way the art is drawn, you can't tell what time of day it is. So it's always
I have
good
asked-
to have that as a colorist. Yeah.
And
I
that's
have
that's
asked-
my failing.
Time of day it
And
is.
I need to tell the colors, help me out, bro. Help me out, sister. I am running behind. If this book is gonna come out anytime remotely in time, you need to carry me.
Step up your game on this page. On
Yep.
these pages.
I'm fortunate that I've got 3 points of view actually, as a writer, as an
Mhm.
inker, and as a colorist. I have inked pages that I've had to call the editor and say, what time of day is it supposed to be? Is this night or day or night? And he goes, oh, good question. Let me ask the writer. As a writer, I will always try to put like morning.
Yep.
Afternoon.
Dusk, yeah.
Evening is falling. This is towards sunset. The shadows are long. You know, I will try to put that in.
Yep.
But I have had to call my editor more than once to say I'm not picking up what they're trying to put down here. I need some more information about the time of day.
Or maybe you're trying to be artistic with it at that point of the production. You're like, can I set this in the daytime at the beach or at nighttime?
And
'Cause
then
it's different.
then the writer pisses me off. This was during the night. You should have known that. Why? Why? How would I tell?
How would I know that?
I'm never.
You
working
didn't
with
read
you
the whole
again.
story first, is what Rob would say. You forgot
never
to read the
working with
whole
you again.
story. It's on page 21. It says clearly it's 1 o'clock in the
A
morning.
pretty good example of that is that first page I showed with that establishing shot.
Mhm.
The way that's drawn there, that could be day or night, right?
That's up to
Yep,
the
just
colorist
depending
to
on the
mess
colorist.
around with it.
Well, but I colored it in grays. So, because I did it myself, I did the gray tones, but I made it night because that's what the script called for.
Yeah.
But see, you got the lighting on that building to show that it's at night, and that establishes it. Then you got the light coming from the dash in the car.
Because
And
the writer told you it was
But
at
the writer
night.
told me it was at night. So, but knowing that
Bingo.
and knowing I was going to do the gray tones as well, I still drew it. It could have been any time of day, but I knew I would be able to come back in with the gray tones, or if it was color, the colorist could come in and do that and make it into a night scene to comply with what the writer was talking about. But yeah, that's an example. So
And with that, we have shot an entire hour with 5 out of
No.
my 20 questions.
No.
So we will
we
be
got 2 more shows
revisiting
out
this-
of this, at
Yes,
least.
that's right. That's right. So we will be revisiting this subject at a later date, part 2.
Okay, so who do we throw under the bus? Editors, writers, colorists, letterists, and
They
artists.
are all supposed to be simpatico.
Okay.
They're all
We're all
supposed
working toward a common goal. That's
Harmony.
what we need to remember.
Right.
is,
Synergy.
yeah. It's,
yeah.
and it's the synergy is what's important.
that's
because,
the favorite business buzzword, synergy.
but it is true because
Corporate
and
speak.
I've had that with several writers that I work with. We would work Marvel style, and he would send me the breakdown. He broke it down by page, and then I would add to that, and then he would come back with the dialogue and add on top of that, and it just it grew in strength
Like painting
and
layers.
the story. So there is some synergy that does go on with comic book creation.
Yeah, I guess that comes. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? We're in the last minute. I'm gonna shut up.
We're beyond the last minute. We're already past.
Yeah, we're already
the last
into
minute.
4 minutes.
All right,
past.
all right, Barb.
We
Okay, so the
sometimes
next
go
time
over.
I'll keep my answers to 60 seconds. I'll keep them nice and.
Oh no!
Bite-sized.
I like long talkers because it means that I don't have to worry about running too short on topics, and then I have enough for a whole new show. And I'm always digging for topics, so I will save these little other questions for another show.
I think you hit really good ones here tonight.
Yeah. Does
Yeah.
anybody know what next week's show is about?
Publishing, right? We're talking about publishing it. Tom gonna join us?
Mason?
We are going to kick off a new crowdfunder, and let me tell you why. It's going to be to help. We
Oh,
are
yeah.
selling a buttload of original art on our new crowdfunder starting on May 6th, I think it is.
Yep.
And it is to recoup operational expenses that were lost due to the big diamond fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank you, Diamond.
yes, I just actually 2 days ago wrapped up the books on that. And I will tell you about that next week.
Talking about next week, this Saturday, May 2nd, free comic book day. Find your local comic book shop, show up, get a couple freebies. But please, my friends, please understand, all of those comics may be free to you, but they were not free to get there. Postage was paid. Those books were printed. Everybody got paid for those things, and they're giving them away to you as an incentive for you to come to the store, say hello to your local friendly comic
Maybe
book
see
people,
what might be able to be
see
there for
what's
purchase.
out there, take a look at a statue, take a look at a manga book, grab a graphic novel, get a pop. They got toys, they got all kinds of goodies that you haven't seen since last free comic book day. So welcome back home. Take a moment, enjoy fandom with your friends and your brand new friends, and support local business, please.
Right. And support our current crowdfunder, please. So thank you for tuning in. It was a lot of fun, and we will revisit this subject on down the line. Now I have some more podcasts to fill in because they're always after me. You need to get your podcast scheduled 1 or 2 months in advance. Oh God. All right. I'll try to think of something. Now I already have my project, my podcast for down next
down the
July.
road. Yep.
In July, because I'm already booked through June.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I am, because I'm the golden child, Kaz.
Oh
You better
God.
get on the ball.
Oh my God.
I'm teacher's pet, because I always plan my podcasts out like 2 months in advance. Okay, folks, thanks for tuning in. It has been a riot. Thank God I have good people to talk, because believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I do not like to do a lot of talking.
Oh my.
I know. Okay, folks, thanks for tuning in. And as we like to say at the end of every Wednesday Wham,
make mine Silverline.
Hey, this is Paul Pelletier. Make mine Silverline. Is that okay, Roland?